We wanted to break it down and try and work out how could we add something that was good.
Yet again, we've had a record-breaking year.
And control and suppress everything about her.
For what it's worth, I've gone on for years about the importance of thinking.
Behind Camilla's bedroom wall, workers reportedly uncovered something so mysterious it left even insiders speechless. Is it forgotten history or a royal scandal waiting to explode? Watch closely and subscribe for every twist. What began as an ordinary maintenance check quickly turned into something no one inside the palace could have imagined. It started on a quiet morning when a team of skilled inspectors entered Queen Camilla's private suite. Their assignment sounded simple: review the structural strength of one of the oldest parts of the residence, look for hidden cracks in the plaster, and make sure the wiring behind the heavy walls was safe. Everything about the job felt routine at first. Tools clicked softly, tape measures stretched and snapped back, and notes were taken with calm precision. But as one technician ran his hand along an elegant tapestry, his fingers paused. There was something there, something subtle, a faint unevenness in the surface that most eyes would have missed. He leaned closer and noticed that the seam of the wall didn't quite match the rest of the design.
Two places that my husband and I were lucky enough to visit last month.
Was a tiny irregularity, but in a building where every detail is documented, even a small mismatch stands out. At first, the team brushed it off. Old walls often settle over time, creating harmless shifts in the plaster. But when they pressed their instruments against that section, the readings came back unusual. The wall didn't sound as solid as it should. Behind the decorative paneling, there seemed to be an empty space deeper than any official blueprint suggested. Palace protocol required immediate reporting of anything unexplained, so senior security officers were called in. The air in the room changed the moment they arrived. What was supposed to be a quick inspection suddenly carried the tension of something far more serious. A mystery was taking shape, one hidden behind a queen's bedroom wall. And as the team prepared to investigate further, a quiet question grew louder in everyone's mind. Why would such a space exist if it wasn't meant to be found?
Hear the same devastating stories, time and time again.
Senior security officers quickly set new rules for the room. Every movement slowed. Every sound felt amplified. The elegant bedroom, normally a quiet retreat, now pulsed with quiet tension. Inspectors carefully eased the heavy tapestry aside and traced the outline of the strange seam. Dust puffed into the air, proof that no one had touched this part of the wall for many years. With delicate precision, they tapped along the plaster. Each knock gave a hollow echo, confirming there was more than wood and stone hidden behind. Specialist tools came next. Gentle cuts revealed a concealed panel that looked different from the surrounding structure, stronger, sharper, as if built to stay hidden for generations. Every eye in the room locked onto the spot as the panel creaked loose. Then came a sudden breath of cool, stale air that smelled of damp stone and long-forgotten corners. Beyond the opening lay darkness. A single beam of a flashlight cut through layers of floating dust to reveal a narrow stone passage.
But I think, I have to admit, in the end, I ended up probably being a sort of pony-mad child. Half of you wants to be scared. You know, you want to.
The corridor seemed almost too tight for comfort, its old stonework rough and uneven. It wasn't marked on any blueprint of the building. No record of its existence appeared in palace documents. Whispers rippled through the team. Could this be an old service passage, a hidden retreat from centuries ago? Or was it created for reasons no one had yet imagined? Whatever its purpose, it was clear that the structure wasn't a simple flaw. Someone long ago had built this passage intentionally, then sealed it off and left it in silence. And now, after decades of secrecy, it was calling to be explored. The first cautious steps into the narrow corridor felt like entering another time. Flashlights flickered across stone walls laced with cobwebs, every sound magnified in the heavy stillness. Dust fell like fine snow from the ceiling with each movement. The air grew cooler as they moved further in.
Now, my achievements as Chancellor over the last decade, and as your very proud Chancellor, I will be cheering you on every step of the way.
The passage narrowed so much that some team members had to turn slightly sideways to fit. Every scrape of a boot against stone echoed back in layers, as though the space itself was alive with memory. No one spoke. It felt as though the walls were holding their breath. Questions raced through every mind. Was this an escape route hidden for security, a forgotten storage tunnel, or something meant to be kept secret for reasons far more personal? After what felt like endless careful steps, the corridor finally opened into a small alcove. Flashlights swept across the space and froze on a single object that dominated the little chamber. A large, iron-bound chest, sitting perfectly centered as if placed on purpose. The sight of it sent a shiver of curiosity through the team. The chest looked far older than the modern structure above. Iron fittings were dulled with time, wood darkened and cracked, yet it stood firm, untouched. No footprints, no signs of movement surrounded it. Someone long ago had placed it here, and no one had returned, until now. The chest's silent presence seemed to pull the air tighter. Senior security officers ordered a careful inspection before any attempt to open it. Photographs were taken, notes recorded, and every measurement written down. When the team tried to lift the heavy lid, it didn't budge. The lock, though rusted, held stubbornly. Even specialized tools barely scratched it. Each clang of metal against iron echoed like a distant drumbeat down the narrow corridor, making hearts pound faster. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Everyone wondered what could demand such strong protection for so long. Was it a chest of forgotten royal valuables, personal artifacts from a hidden chapter of palace life, or something so private that it had to remain sealed forever?
But I've always felt that we're over-exploiting a circular pattern. We've created a linear one, which imagines you can go on forever.
Finally, with a sharp metallic crack, the lock yielded. The sound cut through the silence, followed by a breathless pause. The team exchanged quick, tense glances, waiting for the senior officer's nod. With slow, deliberate care, the heavy lid creaked open. Instead of jewels or shining relics, a different kind of treasure came into view. Layers of neatly tied letters, parchment stacked with precision, and leather-bound journals that carried the weight of deep history. The discovery stopped everyone in their tracks. Inside the chest was not gold or priceless ornaments, but something far more human and intimate. Soft ribbons, faded by time, held together stacks of delicate letters. The parchment had yellowed, the edges fragile enough to crumble at a careless touch. A faint scent of old ink and pressed paper rose with the first movement of air, as though releasing decades of silent stories. Every detail hinted at careful preservation. The journals varied in size, some small and pocket-worn, others heavy and bound in rich leather with ornate corners meant to last. Tucked between them were unsealed envelopes addressed in a flowing hand, but never stamped or sent. Security officers handled each item with white gloves and quiet respect. They photographed each page without unfolding too much, knowing that a single mistake could damage something irreplaceable. Questions filled the dim chamber. Who wrote these lines? Why were they hidden instead of stored in royal archives? And who decided to seal them in a forgotten passage where no one was meant to look? It felt as if the team had stepped into a personal time capsule, a voice from the past carefully locked away and waiting for someone to listen. As a historian on site examined the pages more closely, recognition came swiftly. The handwriting carried a distinct grace, every curve of ink and flourish of letters unmistakable to those who knew royal history. These were not random notes or household ledgers. They were private reflections written by someone whose life had captivated millions. The first few entries read like journal fragments, candid thoughts, short reflections, honest emotions never meant for public view.
Interestingly, one of the first people to buy her book was the future King George IV. Who among us has not encountered the pomposity?
They revealed feelings of being overlooked, of longing for understanding, and of hopes that someday her real story might be known. The words were striking in their honesty. They weren't polished statements for the world, but quiet confessions written in solitude. Each sentence felt alive, like a conversation across time. Team members exchanged silent looks. Whoever had left these pages behind hadn't simply wanted to store memories. The careful concealment inside a sealed wall suggested a deeper purpose, perhaps to protect truths that official records might never capture. And yet one question kept circling back. How did such personal writings find their way into Queen Camilla's private quarters, hidden so thoroughly that even palace blueprints ignored the space? The chest and its contents were moved to a secure archive under close guard. But inside the palace, word spread faster than officials could contain it. From quiet corners of staff corridors to late-night offices, whispers grew. Everyone wanted to know what the letters said and how they ended up in such a secret place. Behind closed doors, senior advisors and curators met urgently. Some argued that the discovery should be acknowledged quickly to prevent rumors from spiraling. Others urged silence, worried that revealing too much too soon might spark confusion and endless speculation. The unknown only deepened the intrigue. Why were these writings hidden so carefully? Who could have moved them into a place so personal and then sealed them away for decades? Each hour of quiet deliberation only fueled curiosity beyond the palace gates. the world was beginning to sense that something extraordinary had been found. For members of the royal family, the revelation struck closer to the heart than anyone outside could guess. When Prince William and Prince Harry learned of the discovery, it wasn't through public channels, but through careful, private conversations. The idea that such personal reflections had been hidden for so long, and in such an unexpected location, was deeply moving. For William, every word in those pages connected to the legacy he continues to uphold. They weren't just fragments of history, they were pieces of a parent's thoughts preserved in quiet secrecy. He felt the weight of responsibility to honor those reflections while protecting them from being misinterpreted. Harry's reaction carried equal intensity, but a different urgency. He believed these personal writings deserved openness and direct acknowledgement. To him, the idea of keeping them sealed again felt unthinkable. Though the brothers approached the discovery differently, they shared an unspoken understanding. These journals were more than documents. They were a bridge to moments of their family's past that neither had fully known. Behind the scenes, heartfelt discussions followed. How should these words be cared for? How much should be shared with the world, and how could they protect the dignity of memories so personal? When the details finally reached Queen Camilla, the effect was immediate. Her private suite, her personal retreat, had unknowingly held a secret room. Now the world's attention was drifting toward it. Reports from those close to the situation described a woman caught between disbelief and determination. Questions poured in faster than answers. How had such a hidden space gone unnoticed? Who knew about it? And why would it hold such deeply personal writings? Camilla chose not to speak publicly, understanding that any comment might spark even more speculation. Yet behind the scenes, she worked to regain a sense of calm and clarity. She pressed for a full accounting of the inspection process and for assurances that her privacy would be protected moving forward. It wasn't just about a wall or a chest, it was about the surprise of finding an unexpected connection to a chapter of royal history that continues to shape the present. Her quiet resolve and careful steps became their own statement. Sometimes silence speaks loudest when the world is buzzing with questions. As the palace continues to study the writings and decide how to preserve them, one truth feels undeniable. Some stories refuse to disappear. Walls can be sealed, panels covered, and corridors forgotten. Yet powerful memories find a way to surface. The journals hold more than observations. They hold emotions and perspectives that add depth to well-known history. For the wider world, the discovery serves as a reminder that behind official events and public appearances lie untold personal journeys. For the royal family, it is an unexpected chance to hear a voice from their own past more clearly and intimately than ever before. The letters and journals now rest in a place of careful preservation, but their message is already out. Truths of the heart endure. What do you think about this extraordinary find? Was it destiny that these writings waited for the right moment to reappear? Or a remarkable coincidence of time and renovation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe personal histories like this should eventually be shared with the public or kept as private family memories? If mysteries like this fascinate you, don't stop here. Check out our next story about another hidden royal secret that will leave you equally amazed. And of course, remember to subscribe so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding journey through history's hidden rooms.